Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribe Star. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Pill Nation Hangout number 377. With me, I am your host and reasonably sane and has never been abducted by space aliens. Host Naroki5, also proud purveyor and owner and creator of Orange Man Bad Handball. Yes, Orange Man Handball for the person in your life that just simply cannot stop tweeting about Donald Trump 16 times a day. That's right, we've got Orange Man Bad Handball. So when he goes into the bathroom, it's just going, where's your bed? 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 He won't have to worry about cherry blisters.
My butt's been wiped.
Yeah, it was the aliens that did that to you, Angel. Yeah, they decided to abduct you instead of abducting Rearson, which is good because Rearson had misplaced his gimp suit this week, and he was incredibly distraught when he called me earlier and told me he'd lost it. So, anyway,
shame on him.
Yes, shame on you, Rearson. So anyway, I am the Rookie 5, and with me tonight is, of course, the guy who managed to successfully avoid alien abduction this week, but did get recruited or attempted to be recruited by a bunch of militant Amway split-level marketers who are now disappeared because of Steve's unique and special abilities given to him by the aliens that abducted him. So, Rearson, introduce yourself.
I don't even know where to start with that one. I'm not going to. If this is what I have to come back to after going camping for the long weekend, up here in
Good luck.
Yeah, multi-level marketing space aliens. Yeah, that's what he ran into.
Sure. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun show tonight.
Were they gray the top and the bottom there, Rooster? Like were they gray like the matches? The carpets match the drapes, so it's gray all over.
Not yet. And I'm in no and I'm in no rush for that to happen. I assure you. Oh God.
Did it tell you to your dealer?
All right. Yep. All right. So just a quick reminder here, guys. One person talks at a time, if it's humanly possible. With us tonight, and I don't know whether he's actually been on the show before or not, but he's here tonight. Alex Wallen, introduce yourself. Tell us all about yourself.
Hey, man. I have been on V's show before when he was with RBN. I was a welder for some time. I went to technical college for that degree, and then I went to get my IT certifications. I have 5 of them. I'm kind of I'm not ashamed to say I'm a pro BRICS man at this point. I think kind of NATO's dropping the ball, and I'm here to talk with you guys about that. So,
thank you very much, Alex. And of course, I thought he was doing a show tonight, but apparently he decided to join our show instead. Angel, introduce yourself.
Well, actually, I just came off my show when you were calling. I was ending my show, which is at midnight. So luckily, you got me right where you want me, which I think was your agenda.
It was.
But
totally
yes.
Was.
It really was. But yes, I am Angel Espino, also known as the Jackal, and you can look me up by simply going to angelespino.com. It's my name, easy to remember, keeps it all in one single place. I do my shows from 10 to midnight, and it was a fun show. I had a great guest this week, And I love romantic walks on the beach. I love hot women because who doesn't? Well, some people don't, I guess. Let's see. I enjoy, really warm showers. I love my hairdo. I have a great stylist. And I just rock the beard because it looks well on me, and I love being here with Naroki Five and the rest of the cast. And every time I get a chance to, be on with you guys, it's always a blast. So thank you for having me, my friend.
Thank you, Angel. And of course, V.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you that I'm not here with any Amway products. It's funny that you guys mentioned that because Amway was one of the front companies for the NSA. That's how they had their original Black Ops kind of funded, especially their behavioral modification programs. Yeah, so screw Amway. Anyways, I am V, host of the Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show. And yes, the news has gotten back to me. Till we talk, we'll be back up in July, probably July 1st, because we want to get the 4th of July people. We want to get all the patriotic people going, and we want to get people discussing the elections. And you guys can see all the new little whistles and bells that we have. So look forward to that, guys. And yeah, let's get the show started.
All right. For those of you who don't know, I am at only Patreon because Subscribestar never got around to actually activating my account. So I'm only at Patreon right now as Naroki 5. I am at YouTube, Odyssey, Bradion, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, and MGTOW TV. Yeah, I was just gonna throw this in. I'm gonna be at I'll tell it to you guys at the end of the show. You're gonna start seeing a lot more content on all except for YouTube. You're gonna be seeing a lot more content on my programs on my alt channels, aka not YouTube. You've already been seeing quite a bit. Like I've been posting up, like for instance, except for Rumble, if you go to my Odyssey, BitChute, Brighteon, and MGTOW TV accounts, like you'll notice that I've been posting up a lot of stuff from Redacted over the past month or so. I've been noticing that a lot of people on YouTube, even accounts with like in the hundreds of thousands, still haven't gotten around to doing the Rumble thing. So to keep things interesting, I'm going to start sharing their content, and it's mostly because I don't want to give YouTube any of the credit for the stuff that I watch. So I'm going to just upload it to one of my channels and watch it there, and I get to share it with you guys. That is pretty much it for the shelling. The topics tonight, and we got a rather eclectic, interesting set of topics. Topic number 1, Iranian president dies in helicopter crash. I don't think the body has been recovered yet, and some very suspicious circumstances involved. 2, the immigration situation. I was talking about the U.S., but we can probably talk about Canada as well. Diversion of resources, financial strain, it's tough on the power grid. There's also been rumors of these immigrants being a potential occupation force. Some very interesting stuff coming up around the whole immigration issue. Topic number 3, IGN purchases most of the remaining video game journalism sites, effectively ending it as a field. Yeah, almost completely. Topic number 4, World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab is stepping down. 5, fast food prices are rising, causing panic. McDonald's getting hit hard. Red Lobster is going bankrupt. There's actually quite a few restaurants that are going bankrupt. Topic number 6. Media Matters loses lawsuit and faces federal probe, starts laying staff off. Yeah, the way it's going to go is it will. You want to go second to last, V? Okay, so it will be me, Angel, Alex, V, and then Steve. Okay. All right. And topic number 7, CSIS labeled parents that are opposed to gendered ideology, this is in Canada, as a terrorist threat. Yeah, I wish I was lying about that one, but I'm not. Okay. Actually, Rearson, at this point, I have a time recorder set up playing on my screen here. So I'm just going to put that down and then we're going to get started here. Okay, so this one literally happened last Sunday. And I read about it. And it was like literally it was quite literally the next post I read after the failed assassination of the Slovakian president. I can't remember the guy's name because I'm really crappy with names, but he died in a helicopter crash in the mountains of northwestern Iran. Now, apparently this is a very remote spot in Iran. They haven't been able to get anybody in there. So, and they haven't been able, because they haven't recovered they haven't been able to get to him, at least the last time I checked. They actually haven't been able to confirm whether he's actually alive or dead. The really suspicious thing about this, though, is only a couple of hours, even before the people of Iran had been announced that the Iranian president had died in a helicopter crash, the Israelis announced that the Iranian president had died in a helicopter crash, which kind of, because, people in that part of the world and in Central America and in Africa and any place that's not connected with the West. Actually, there was a U.S. senator in Alaska who mysteriously died and disappeared in a plane crash as well. So it does happen in the West as well, because there seems to be a disproportionately curious number of world leaders that always seem to die in air crashes.
Are we talking about Ibrahim Raisi?
Yeah, the president of the president of Iran. Yeah. Okay. There's some very strong suspicion that he may have been assassinated. I haven't really looked into it. The way the Israelis are acting, though, you can't dismiss it out of hand.
They did issue the first statement. That was a little weird.
Yeah. And the whole issue around this is, to my knowledge, that this president was a bit of a moderate. Now, here's the situation, though, with this. Iran did fire all of those missiles into Israel a few weeks ago. So and Israel did, of course, launch strikes back at Iran. Now, it was believed, because everybody went radio silent after that was the end. That was going to be the end of it. But I mean, it apparently maybe Israel wasn't done retaliating. Although, killing off a moderate is probably not the best move. That's just me. I'm saying the situation in the Middle East is really tense right now, and I'm not going to get it because I really haven't been covering a lot of the student protests that are happening on campuses here in North America, which I think are being backed by a certain individual who wants us to eat all the bugs, and but no, not Klaus Schwab. This Soros. You will eat the bugs. Yeah, that dude. Oh well, I don't.
I think it's the French, by the way, behind the whole bug thing, and I also think they were behind the putting water in bottles and selling it to us. It's like these stupid Americans, they'll do anything that we want them to do.
Exactly.
First, we'll feed them the water in the bottles, and now they shall eat the bugs. Sneaky French.
So yeah. But with that, I mean, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I mean, given the close time proximity between when the Slovakian president was nearly assassinated and what happened with the Iranian president, it would appear as though there's this new trend where the globalists might actually be willing to kill. That's just speculation on my part. And with that, did I say it was going to be Alex that goes second? Yeah, I did, didn't I? So, Alex, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Drogi. I mean, you talked a little bit about retaliation from Israel, and I was going to say you're correct. He may have been a bit of a moderate, but Israel is known for making irrational moves. I mean, the genocide of the Gazan people is one of those things. What was that battleship that was sunk due to an Israeli airstrike? I think it was. Does anybody remember that?
No, I remember the game. You sank my battleship, but I don't think that's what you mean.
No, it was an American ship that was sunk. I don't remember the name of the.
Oh yeah, ship. Yeah. They tried to cover that up. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's 11 at night, but that's pretty much my opinion on Israel right now. I used to be very, I used to think Zionism was cool until I learned about the lengths that Israel would go to kind of build that third temple. And one of those things was the genocide of the Gazan people, which I don't support.
Alex, not to get you off, but are you talking about the USS Liberty incident?
Yes, the USS Liberty. That was correct. Yep.
Man, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Go on, sir.
But yeah, I think that Israel is making a big mistake, making so many enemies. I know that the U.S. is under Israel's thumb in more ways than one, and we can't really do anything about the rampant corruption of funds, but one can hope that we wouldn't keep funding them. That's really all I have to say on that.
Are you done? Okay, Angel, you're up.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say something there, Naroki. Good job there, Alex. You're actually spot on. And now it's funny because Iran has been a problem for a very long time. And I used to work for Iranian, a company that was owned by people from Iran. And they would tell me stories about, the stuff that goes on there. And, the whole USS Liberty thing, that's what, back in the 60s, I think, late 60s. So they've been a problem for a long time. And people left there because the government's always been bad. It's like, this is nothing new. They've been sponsors for terrorism for decades and decades and decades. And remember when we had Orange Men in the White House, he took on Iran and China, and he made a lot of money. In fact, Iran was nearly broke, because of Trump. And now suddenly they have all this money again, and it's all the circulation of the funds because of Sleepy Joe and what he's done over. And our enemies have become very wealthy over the last 4 years. Which this is why we need to bring back the Orange Man, because let's just say it's not doing well under creepy Uncle Joe. He has destroyed the countries, not just America, but the entire world by feeding all this money to known terrorist organizations and governments like Iran. And one thing that scares me is not just Iran and Russia, but how many other of our enemies out there are going to start like saying kidnapping American citizens to hold them for ransom because now they know if Joe Biden's in office, they're going to give us billions, and they're going to negotiate, and they have all this leverage because we have a very complicit and sold out president that is the leader of the free world. And he's not leading through power. He's not leading through strength. He's leading through weakness, and it's on purpose. It's a sad situation, and the whole world is kind of complicit in it, and not the citizens, but the powers that are in play, from Canada to Mexico to Europe. All these people that are radical communists all in on this, and it's very, very scary times. And that's really all I got, Naroki.
V.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of smells like cocaine and hummus.
Wait, is that a Cuban Jew thing? Because we have Jubans.
Did you say Jubans?
No, Cubans, because the Jewish thing, Cubans, cocaine and Jews,
All right. Well, I was actually
I'm
talking
Cuban.
about.
I can talk about the cocaine. I am Cuban.
Well, I meant the cocaine cowboys, the CIA.
Yes, true story.
Yeah. So yeah, we got the Mossad, the CIA. They're always doing their thing, and it's over the past 2 weeks I've been doing. I know I'm like an expert on the NSA, but I've done a deep dive past 2 weeks on the CIA, and thank God they have stepped away from directly trying to mind control the public. Thank God they have stepped away from directly trying to poison the things that we put in our bodies. They've stepped away from a lot of stuff that they used to do to the American people. But their expertise is overthrowing governments and starting new regimes. That's been their MO for the past at least 30 years, 40 years. Yeah, when stuff happens like this, you have to look in the CIA's direction. They are the most technologically advanced terrorist group on the planet, backed by a first world nation. So when stuff like this goes down, you just have to use Occam's razor and look at the usual suspects. So this is a very, very CIA Mossad type of thing that would happen. And yeah, I mean, the CIA is not all super powered. Okay, I mean, there have been people that would kick the crap out of the CIA over the years, and groups that you wouldn't think would have the power to, but has. I mean, the CIA has tried to start their rebellion groups anywhere that they can to topple governments. Now, I don't think there's any American sympathizers in Iran, and I don't think there's too many people that are willing to go against too many actual Iranians willing to go against the Iranian government. So instead of training troops of the country to overthrow its own government, I think the only recourse they had left is direct assassination. So that's why it stinks of the cocaine cowboys. There's not a lot of it's all about exploitation. Okay, every government on this planet exists and gives some kind of tidings to the United States deep state. Okay, there has to be something that each company, I'm sorry, each country gives that allows them to continue to exist. Because if you didn't, guess what? You'd be overthrown by the CIA. They're at least going to screw with your government until it comes into compliance. I know the Australians didn't originally want Pine Gap there, that spy base, that NSA, CIA base, Pine Gap. The politician that said no, well, guess what? He got nullified and replaced because the CIA did their research and found that there was a position in the Australian government. There was a guy that can tell the prime minister to go F himself and replace him. That position wasn't being held up. So the CIA put somebody in that position to get rid of the prime minister. And so now they have Pine Gap. And I suspect they've done similar things around the planet because we have military bases, we have black site bunkers, and we have spy installations all over the planet. So to hear something like this happen to the Iranian president, where there's lack of reach as far as any kind of militant powers, yeah, it's going to be a one-on-one assassination. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind. I'm done. Go ahead.
Real quick, V, do you think they might try this on President Trump if he wins? Because that's one of the fears I got.
If Trump wins, he just doesn't need to take a limousine ride through Dallas. He needs to stay indoors.
The last orange guy, that's for sure.
Exactly. But no, if Trump gets into power, I think as long as they let him punish some people for the hell he's gone through, I think they'll just let him do his thing. But the real people that are responsible for his troubles, of course, they're not going to be cited, and they're going to try to re-terrify him into place. And any deals that he tries to make that the deep state doesn't like, trust me, he's going to get backlash. He's gonna be made an example out of. They may not kill him, but I do believe they'll make an example out of him.
Oh, they're gonna there's the stuff that we know that the Biden administration did, and there's stuff that we don't know what they did. I think a lot of Trump's next 4 years, assuming he wins, is going to be cleaning up the mess Biden left behind, including, by the way, having to negotiate immediately with the BRICS alliance to make sure that all the money that is going to end up flooding back into the U.S. if BRICS goes ahead with its plan doesn't actually totally and completely collapse the U.S. economy. Anyway, Rearson, you're up. Sorry, Angel, I have to keep this moving.
All right. I don't really have much to not much to say on this one. Excuse me. as it was already said earlier by
Yeah.
Alex, I believe, that Israel first made the statement. I mean, this is about as I can't find the right word, but I'm comparing this in my head to the Nord Stream pipeline having been screwed up as it was, and the blame was pinned on Russia. So you'll have to pardon me for not thinking that this was an assassination, most likely, highly likely, on the part of Israel. Retaliation, whatever else, yeah, sure. And then there was another Iranian that was assassinated that week as well. I don't remember really what the hell it was. But
Was it a general?
might have been. I think it
Was
was.
it
Yeah.
Soleimani or something?
No,
I don't know.
No,
Soleimani was a few years, because a couple of year plus ago.
Yeah. That's when Trump was in office, Soleimani. Yep.
My bad.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. When it comes to anything that happens over there, sorry folks, but I've got things that are more important in my immediate world. And for the people that are stuck over there, I've got some rather interesting philosophical beliefs that would make you seem a little bit cold-hearted. But at this point in the game, I've got some ideas as to how things are probably going to go, but I don't have anything concrete to say. And the less that I don't think about the Middle East, the happier that I am. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it, and I got nothing more to say.
Thank you, Rearson. Okay, so let's get on with the next one. Okay, this is based off of a bunch of stuff that Redacted ran this week. And it was very interesting, mostly because everybody around in this group, in this discussion, knows that there's more going on with immigration than just leaving the borders open on purpose, which is effectively what they're doing. Now, the first thing that, and this is not being reported in the mainstream media at all, but it is being reported in the alt press quite frequently, is the fact that these sanctuary cities, these sanctuaries are being put up in places like for instance in Chicago, where there is a very major, pardon the term, African American presence, and what's happening in these cities where this is taking place, and this shouldn't really come as any surprise, is that the locals are noticing that these illegals who are not even supposed to be here are getting all of these goodies. They're getting all the food, they're getting warm housing, they're getting all the stuff, and the city somehow, or the state, or the feds somehow don't have money for the local Indian, the local groups, which, by the way, are large. And I did not know this until this was reported on Redacted. Most of these sanctuaries are located in African American communities. So there is an incredibly large amount of friction going on between the African Americans in this community and these Colombians, which, by the way, a large number of these Venezuelans were former prisoners. And we're talking about basically what happened is Venezuela basically popped open its door and sent all of a strong majority of their prisoners into the U.S. So there's a very strong criminal element to a lot of these, in particular the Venezuelans. And there is a lot of friction going on, and the African Americans are getting very, very angry, and this might trigger not a race war between the blacks and the whites, but between the blacks and the illegals. And it's not that I would really not that I would really blame the blacks, the African Americans, if they did that, because they are clearly being treated like second-class citizens in their own country, on top of all the other racial issues that are going on. The second, hold on
I
a
was just going
second,
to say chocolates.
something like that. Yeah. The
Well,
second,
don't forget. I mean, besides African Americans, we have the Haitian Americans, and other Jamaican Americans. There's a lot of blacks that are not African Americans that are in this country that are citizens and are going through this also in a rookie.
yeah, and it's not being reported by the mainstream media, and it's creating a lot of. The second issue is that the drain of, and this is happening in Canada as well. In Canada, where it's really affecting things is the housing situation in Canada, mostly because it's like Canada, unlike the United States, is much more urbanized. So there is a need to build a significantly larger amount of housing. And what you're starting to see what we call predatory landlords who are buying up large swaths of neighborhoods and jacking up the rents, which is literally what happened to the place that I'm living at. And I mean, they didn't, like, the rent on my place almost doubled. That's how much they raised it. And it's putting a strain on, especially if you live in a city, it's putting a strain on the city resources, it's putting a strain on the power grid, it's putting a strain at everywhere, because I mean, of course, all of the major corporations, of course, are also having to increase their demands because they're all modernizing their tech infrastructure, and that tech infrastructure is very energy, especially electrical grid reliant. And of course, we covered this a couple of weeks ago when Biden declared a quote unquote environmental emergency. Biden administration then also put restrictions on coal and gas fired plants, which make it impossible for them to build more to meet the demand. And then, of course, you've got all of these extra people coming in, which is also creating a demand, which might result in, and don't be surprised if you read about this over the summer and even into the winter, you start seeing increased numbers of brownouts in major cities because of the strain on the electrical grid. You won't see it in places where there is plenty of power and water. Like, you won't see it in Arizona, or you won't see it in Vegas. You won't see it in Seattle. You won't see it up where I live, because we've got lots of power and water. But if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of dams or whatever, yeah, don't be surprised if you get a brownout.
Do they have that in California now, Naoki? It's in that areas in California where they
Yeah,
have.
oh yeah. San Francisco in particular is the energy grid there is like on the verge of just like caving in. PG&E just does not have the capacity to deal with the current population of San Francisco, much less all of these new illegals coming in. So yeah, this San Francisco is like San Francisco, LA, New York, places that don't have a lot of power immediately available to them, which might also be Miami. I don't know where Miami gets its energy from, whether it's for natural gas or I don't think it's tidal. I think it comes off a dam or something like that. I don't know where Miami gets its electricity from. But yeah, I mean, if you're in an area that doesn't have it immediately available, don't be surprised if you run into brownouts. And the third one, and this is the one that's really disturbing, and again, all of this came out of Redacted this week, Redacted News. There is rumors floating around that all of these military age illegals that are coming across the border are actually coming across the border to be the occupation force, when apparently there's going to be some type of another pandemic or a quote unquote climate emergency or some sort of domestic terrorism issue, and they won't be able to use their own domestic military because most of the domestic military will not fire on its own people. Now, this one is really frightening, not just because North America will be occupied by a foreign power, but I mean, I legit almost feel sorry for these people if that's what they're up here for, because if you thought Afghanistan and Vietnam were going to be headaches, like just try occupying a country where the citizens not only have weapons but are constitutionally empowered to shoot back against a foreign occupied power. That's gonna be very, very scary for any foreign troops that dare to step on American soil, or any UN forces that step in here. Like, it's gonna be a meat grind. It's gonna be like Vietnam or Afghanistan, except times 100. Like, I feel sorry for any UN soldier that tries to come in here and do anything like that in any part of North America, Canada and Mexico included. And with it, I'm going to turn it over to Alex.
Sure. I don't really want to rip off Redacted. I mean, I've been down to the border. I used to live in the Texarkana area. You can see the Lobos, like the traffickers of drugs, like cross the border, and the borders all over in the sand and the dirt. You can see like feces and like what is it? It's a plant that they eat, cactus. Yeah, they eat the cactus and cook that cactus as they're crossing the border to stay hydrated. They take the aloe, they rub it on their arms, and you can just see these Lobos just running back and forth across the border. It's really quite frightening, actually, to know that it goes unchecked. It goes completely unchecked. And I said rip off Redacted because they brought a former Border Patrol agent on the show, and he talked a lot about specifically how Americans were not getting homeless Americans specifically were not getting the care and medical care, food. Actually, he went on to say running buses in the winter that feed and keep the illegals warm as Americans are stuck outside the buses, knocking on the doors. The border situation is beyond crazy. It's really bad. And yes, I do think there are many military-age men coming over the border, but that's about all I have to say about that.
Angel.
Well, it's a mild language when you say it's getting bad. I'm 46, even though I know I don't look it. I'm a young-looking guy. But I've never in my lifetime have seen the border this bad. And I lived in California for an early part of my life, and I remember as a kid, and we would see illegals coming in. It happened, but not to this number. What's going on now is done on purpose. And I live in a Latino area, and around where I live, there's a lot of illegals that have moved in, and we're not even a sanctuary city, but they've been busing people into Florida for a long time, for a couple of years now, and until Ron DeSantis started doing something about it, nobody knew. And this area has neighbors that are all illegal, and I've gone into conversations with these people, and the one thing across the board they all tell me is they were given food stamps. They were given credit cards with money loaded into them. They're reloadable cards. easy access to get apartments, especially for those with kids. A couple of my neighbors who have been here for 2 years got apartments like that. He one of them even showed me the credit card, American Express, by the way. Go figure. And these are people that are taking advantage of a system while breaking the law to get into this country. So, what precedent is this, setting for the future where now people that break the law are being given all these goodies and these things that the citizens are not being given. We have record unemployment. Really, that's what's happening. And Joe Biden doesn't want to say it. He says, "Oh, my numbers are good." No, Joe, they're not. We have, let's see, more homeless today in America than ever before. And a lot of them are veterans from the Gulf Wars and whatever's left from Vietnam, which are really old. A lot of them are still in the streets. A lot of mental patients who end up in the streets. People who need the help are not getting it, while illegals are getting it. And worst of all, besides that, and everything that's happened with the illegals, we're sending billions of dollars to foreign countries to fight wars instead of giving money to feed the poor in this country. It's like Tupac said in the 90s in his songs. They got money for wars but can't feed the poor. Things haven't changed. Okay, we're decades after he passed, and it's still that bad, and it's only getting worse because of the failed misadministration, not just now in office, but the 8 years under Obama, the 8 years under Bush and Cheney, the 8 years under Clinton. This has been a setup for decades, people, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse if we keep electing the wrong people into power. And I love how, like some of these sanctuary city areas were all pro being sanctuary cities until it became a problem in their neighborhood, and they started saying, wait a second, why can't I find a job where Julio over there has a job? And he just got here 2 weeks ago from Mexico. And, now our friends on the left are starting to feel it in the pocketbooks. And now they're saying, you know what, we done messed up. And that's one reason I think places like the Bronx and Jersey are heavily going and saying, you know what, we're going to listen to Trump because he's been kind of right about this stuff. And that's why some of the numbers are spiking within our communities for Trump. And I think that's what's going to hit in November because we're not stupid, especially the Latinos like myself. We're not stupid. I come from a communist country. I know what communism smells like, and this is exactly what's happening here. The border is just one of the pieces of the puzzle to start a communist revolution. Now, forget about the Mexicans coming to the border and the drugs and all this stuff. The worst thing that's coming to the border are the communist nationals from China. 30 to 40% of them are from China. And we're talking about, 15 million illegals in the last 4 years? That's a problem. That's a major problem. And if you're not feeling it in the sanctuary cities now, and another couple of years with Joe Biden, man, you're going to feel it. And it's going to be really bad for everybody involved who is actually a United States citizen. So, with that, I am done, gentlemen. Naroki, take it away.
You're up.
Wow.
You're up.
Yeah. These are all valid points. Something I want to. Oh, it's my mic. Okay. Something
Yeah,
I
you
want
sound fine.
to.
Okay there, buddy? Everything good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Go ahead, V.
So, I want people to understand the idea of what's above, so below. That's kind of one of the elementary sayings from the old mystery schools.
Hermeticism, I believe.
What's above, so below. So I look at this in a sense, have been a targeted individual, someone who was targeted by the NSA CIA complex. And, as one person, in their efforts to try to destroy me, they, number one, attacked my resources. Number two, attacked my technology. And then they tried to attack my social, I want to say, just the connections. Not necessarily people
They
themselves.
attack your social life, yes.
You're networking. Social networking, is that the word?
So as a TI, that's basically a self-execution program, because when you have nothing, you're sitting on the side of the road talking to yourself or pushing a cart down the road because you've not killed yourself yet. But that's kind of the point. So I look at it, because you have atoms, you have the solar system, you have the galaxy. There's an order to it. There's an order to those, and each level looks basically the same. So you take how they would target a single person, and then how they would target a community, and then how they would target, an entire social construct within the company. I'm sorry, the country. I keep calling the U.S. a company, even though it's a corporation.
It's a big corporation that houses many corporations. That's really what it is, V. So you're on the money.
Yeah. So, throwing all these people, and something else people have to understand is that United States federal government, I swear, they're like the pantheon of 40K. They are chaos gods, okay? They thrive off of conflict. Every war that we've had, we've made a gazillion amount of dollars. Weapons development, propping up countries and selling weapons and yada, yada, yada. It's huge business. Huge. Okay? So that conflict, the CIA doesn't care what they do to America. The CIA thinks the United States and everything in it is its own personal playpen and piggy bank. We saw that with the Iran Contra. Okay? Throwing crack in the black communities, making lots of money off of it, so they can further their own agenda. And supposedly fighting against communism. Yeah, right. Give me a break. You're fighting against any kind of government that is successful that doesn't look like theirs. That's what's really about. The threat of an actual freer way of life that will replace them. Anyhow, so that's kind of what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing right now. They want that turmoil because they're going to make money off of it. They get to pad the numbers, stats, crime and all that stuff. They want to perpetuate the mentality that all minorities are criminals. They want to make the money off of throwing people in prison, because that's big money too. It's just win, 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 win. America loses, but the deep state and the feds win. They don't care about any minorities. They would much rather have helter skelter and have us wipe each other out. if you want to be real about it, if you want to be honest about it, because that's the play. Even if there's no race war, you're still going to have that animosity. That animosity will be generational. That animosity will be there to make sure that we don't come together as a people nationwide and stop the BS, whatever that may be at any given time. So it's they're targeting all of the minorities right now, basically. Yeah. Alex, you talking about that woman who was trying desperately get in my pants?
Something like that. Yeah, it was. I was mentioning not just also the attack on American citizens that's happening. Specifically, I was mentioning the student Gaza protests, and
Okay.
yeah, sorry, a little off topic, but
You said that IDF agent. Yeah, because I had an IDF agent desperately trying to house wreck and
yeah, he hit a student over the head with like a 2x4, and the guy was bleeding everywhere, and nothing can be done because he has diplomatic immunity. It was absolutely bananas.
Well, yeah, that diplomatic immunity. But however, that diplomatic immunity, you get one shot and you're out. So if you screw up, you're out. You never come back. That's what people don't know about that. It's not just a license to do anything you want. It's a one strike and you're out. So
Sometimes that's all a
you commit
PSYOP needs.
yeah, you get you get kicked the hell out of the country.
So they can place a bomb, kill 50 million people, and it only counts as one?
Yeah.
That's kind of like a win-win for their side, I think.
Right. So, that's. I just want people to consider these things. The social, political construct here. And I don't know. I just don't want people to give in to the PSYOP. Because these things they only benefit the politicians. The Democrats get their votes. The Democrats desperately need their votes because they're not going to be able to rig the election like they did last time. They got to do it a different way or come up with a different plan. And so we've been seeing the fact that the Democrats have been letting dead people vote, letting illegals vote.
Bus is full of them.
Busloads. So as Americans, we're being hoodwinked. Time for us to wake the hell up and do something about it. And with that, I'll pass it on.
Rearson, you're up.
Mm-hmm. Not really sure where I really want to go with this one because I'm looking at the immigration problems within Canada and looking at the official numbers. So far as of this year, according to UN or whoever else that seems to be keeping track of this stuff, Canada's population is 39 million. When the clown in Ottawa stepped in, we were at 35 million. Now, it may not seem like very much, but in terms of U.S. numbers, that would be going from 350 million up to not quite hitting 400 million. And it's the internal migration, the two places that people seem to be moving to, well, it's Roki's in spot number 2, and I happen to be in spot number 1, which is Edmonton and Calgary, respectively. And I can tell you, folks, I'm seeing it. There's a Ukrainian coffee house business that is about 2 blocks away from where I live. And walking around, I'm seeing, I'm either hearing or seeing a Slavic language, most likely being Ukrainian, that's being spoken. Or I'm seeing a hell of a lot more East Indians, Sikhs more predominantly. And I'm not going to sound, I know I'm going to sound xenophobic, but holy fuck, enough's enough. I don't know what the housing situation is south of the border. And as Naroki had said earlier, his apartment has gone up by about 40%, or I think it's about 60%. His rent has gone up by 60%, and he's okay to live there for now. I'm fine where I'm at because I live in social housing or subsidized housing. Although it feels like it's a freaking prison. So, and I know that immigration is going to come up as a problem, election issue, whenever the next election is going to be, which realistically, the opposition leader that's keeping Trudeau in power will be happy to call an election once he's got his government pension. Fucker. Anyway. So, my apologies, Naroki, if this was going to be something that we were going to be talking about soon enough, like in the next podcast or two. And talking with my mom about all of this, she's of the opinion, and I'm no different, that right now, enough's enough. We don't have the housing for people to be able to live. And the Canadian mentality for retirement is to buy a house and then eventually sell it. Now, I don't know about you gentlemen, but when you're going to be in debt and you're paying off a liability, it's not an asset, it's a liability, unless you can turn it around and actually have it make money for you or grow in value. Canadians, in my honest opinion, in this regard, just a bunch of bloody frickin' idiots. That's a topic of discussion for another point in time. But
I think that's important. That houses have become an investment, and what they really should be is just a standard. Everybody should have their own home. Just to add to you a little bit.
No, fair enough. I'm happy to rent because I'll be happy to let someone else fix the place. I am not
into that, bro.
Okay. I'm not being handy for anybody. Anyway, it's, I don't know. It just, this comes down to the financial illiteracy that Canadians have, and just the overall mindset. Anyway, it's been said in the truther community. One gentleman that I have listened to, and I'm subscribed to him again on Telegram. And it's been said on his channel, and perhaps others as well too, I'm pretty sure it has, that America has to go through a near-death experience. And as much as I wish this whole thing was over, right now for the world to change, we're not there yet. Will things get to that point? I think it will happen. I think it's going to happen actually very quickly. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if between now and October, if we've thought that things have been moving pretty fast, now it's only going to get worse for the better. So there have been rumors of Well, the same thing basically with migrants coming into Canada as well too, that typically are military-aged men, and if not, the Chinese have been sending in their cells that are waiting for the code word, shall we say, or the signal, and then we'll see what happens. So I don't know. I'm. It's still my desire to get the hell out of Calgary because it just doesn't feel like it doesn't fit for me anymore. So I've got to get cracking on that, but I should be able to have my escape plan put together and in order by July. So we'll see. And on that note, I got nothing more to say.
Thank you, everybody. I kind of figured that one was going to go on for a while. The next one probably won't be nearly so long, but I'm actually kind of glad this has happened. IGN came in and bought, curiously enough, and this happened with Deadspin, and this has happened with a few other companies as well. They bought up most of the gaming journalism sites, Rock Paper Shotgun, a few others. The only ones that didn't get bought up were Kotaku, which is already owned by somebody else, and another one. And Kotaku is down to just I think it's 4 staff. So Kotaku is just a shell of what it once was. So ironically enough, and again, I mean, don't want to put on a conspiratorial hat here, but the way things went this time, I mean, Sweet Baby didn't last as long. And the last time when we went through Gamergate lasted for months. And what ended up happening is that effectively the wokesters ended up winning in the end. This time, Sweet Baby, mostly because gaming journalism. Oh yes, PC Gamer and Kotaku are really the only 2 gaming publications that are left at this point. This time, the gaming journalists were basically knob polishing for Black Girl Gamer and that sort of thing. And when I mean knob polishing, well, I mean, if you don't get the reference, then it's not any. That I really don't feel like explaining it to you. But yeah, it's almost as if Sweet Baby and what happened with Sweet Baby was potentially, and this is just me speculating, a way of causing a lot of these gaming sites where you had frustrated, angry, blue-haired social justice warriors who were pissed off because they couldn't write about politics and had to cover gaming. This was a way of causing them to lose whatever little credibility they had left to make IGN do it. And I mean, I'm not going to say that's what happened, but I mean, this is the second time now where, because this is exactly what happened with Deadspin. Deadspin got serious egg on its face from a really bad story. In which case, with Deadspin, it was the article where they reported a Native American kid for having a half red, half black face. We covered it on this show. This particular case is like all of these gaming, and they weren't. I mean, I heard the name Rock Paper Shotgun. I hadn't actually heard that name. I didn't even know that was still I didn't even know it was still a website that was even still up. So effectively, and I'm going to have to imagine IGN is going to do this. Effectively, what's going to happen with these is, first of all, they're going to merge them into one company, and they're going to say, no. Here's what's going to happen. Just like what happened over at Kotaku. You're going to do games. You're not going to do politics. If you want to do politics, there's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out. And just, again, the way this all went down is very similar to what happened with Deadspin, which causes me to think that maybe this whole thing with Sweet Baby may not have been as completely organic as it appears to be. It might have been a well-rehearsed AstroTurf campaign, but it's a well-rehearsed AstroTurf campaign that got rid of a bunch of social justice warriors that really had no right to be in the games industry. And, for one, and this is, again, I'm going to be quoting a couple of people, Jerry Hambling being one of them, that most of the people at these particular websites that got bought up by IGN would have been quite happy to see guys like Nerdrotic, The Quartering, Geeks and Gamers, etc. If all of these companies had been canceled and been victims of cancel culture, that these companies would have been up, standing up, cheering as loudly as they can. So the one person I did see who was Jeremy Hambling reporting on this, Jeremy Hambling was like saying, well, it's too bad for them, but these people would have canceled me if they were given the choice. So I have very limited sympathy, and that's my take on it as well. I have zero sympathy for this group. Now, maybe gaming won't be as woke, but gaming was never although we did cover the Black Samurai BS a couple of weeks ago. Maybe AAA won't be sucking at the DEI tit, won't be sucking at BlackRock's tit as much as they have been in the past. And with that, I'm going to go to Alex.
Sure. I used to get Game Informer as a kid. You guys remember that magazine at all? It was a really good magazine in the 90s, and I had like a 2 or 3 year subscription, and I've certainly seen the shift in writing from the 90s to the more woke media we have now. I mean, you could not get away with the ads that they had in the 90s compared to the ads they have in the magazine today. I think Game Informer is now owned by GameStop, but IGN owns GameStop. So, but I really don't think it's going to affect people's desire for good games. Similarly, with movies, we could really ask ourselves why movie theaters are empty or why a game doesn't get purchased. And I think it comes down to people don't like garbage. Why make a Mad Max without Mad Max, for goodness sake? But that's really all I have to say about that.
Or now it will be Mad Maxine anyway.
Angel, you're up. Yeah.
I would.
Oh, well, I was just waiting to be called out because, the rookie. But no, it's not shocking. Microsoft recently has been noted as laying off some of like their biggest game makers. And it's all part of the time. I think the Xbox might be one of the systems that completely goes away pretty soon. There's also way too many game houses out there that are producing crap, like you said, and that's one of the downfalls of the gaming industry right now, where sales are down in some areas. But also, it's gotten more expensive to play video games now. Like before, you bought a game, you played a game, you linked it on the internet, and it was fun, and everybody had a good time. But now it's like you spend all this money in the game, and then you have to like buy stuff within the game that costs you actual money. So now you're spending more money after you already paid money a lot of money to buy the games. And at some point, you're like, wait a second, I'm spending like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars here to play a goddamn game that I already paid a lot of money to buy. So and streaming is it's getting better as gaming goes. Obviously, it's really good now, but I mean, that's not cheap either. I mean, you have to have you have a PlayStation. You have to be on the PlayStation network. That costs money. And then again, if you want to play a good game, you have to buy stuff within the game, and all that is just draining people's resources. And a lot of that stuff is garbage. I mean, they have not really come out with that many good games. I think Xbox has released like what 2 or 3 good games in the last year. That's it. And those game makers are like they shut them down, which I don't understand. But I mean, it's food for course, and the theaters are not having the record numbers they've had in the past. But it's not that bad for movie theaters. I mean, we still have $1 billion movies. It's just also they're not making very good movies, and you have all the streaming stuff online now. It's like you never want to watch something. I'll just watch it online. Why do I need to go to a movie theater to see Superman when I could watch it on the CW or something like that? And I'll tell you, a lot of the streaming content, especially the sci-fi stuff with all like the added CGI and stuff, it rivals the movie theaters. So you really have to make it worth the while of the moviegoer to go want to see a movie. But like you said, why have Mad Max without Mad Max, right? And I think this is why the Ghostbusters, the first one, Afterlife, kind of hit the nostalgic feel, because it brought back the old Ghostbusters and their old roles, not just like the 2016 wannabe reboot or whatever. With like all the lesbian chicks. But this one actually had the original cast play themselves from the original films, and even the Frozen Empire, which was pretty good. But the point is, people want to see stuff they love, but at a certain point, you have to find a way to move on from what it is that made that great, and enter the new generation without upsetting the old generation, the old guard, to the point that they don't want to even watch your product. And that's something Hollywood I don't think has learned yet, which is why I love the fact that they have never done any more sequels to Back to the Future or E.T. Leave those alone. Let it be. That's all I got.
Nothing is sacred, probably, unfortunately.
Hey, just leave Back to the Future and E.T. alone, and we're good.
All right, V, I believe you're up.
Have some special place in your heart, doesn't
it? The first movie I ever saw in theaters, V, was E.T. as a kid. The weekend it came out, I don't know what the hell it's about. I just knew it was about a finger with an alien. I was like, ooh, it's bright, Daddy. I got to see that. And he's like, okay, well, shut your hell up. I'll take you to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Explains a lot, I know.
I'm not going to go there. But I do, I didn't really understand that gaming journalism was such a thing. I didn't have any subscriptions, but every now and again, I would be blessed with a gaming magazine, and oh my God, would I read those things over and over and over and over again. Back when Sega CD, the Jaguar, those consoles were around, and get to see the obscure games that I would never play.
Sega Genesis, my friend. Sega Genesis.
No, Sega Genesis was the bomb, but
oh yeah,
when those other like the 3DO, the Jaguar, and then look at the goofy games that came on those things like Clay Fighter
Hey, the
Play
original
Fighter 2.
Atari, and you can't beat the original Atari. Come on.
Exactly. But I
There is
didn't
an
really think of.
actual there's a game pack that actually allows you to play. I'm actually probably going to be buying it. It allows you to play literally every game on every system. It's been
Wow.
advertised on Instagram. Yeah, I'm actually considering buying one.
If I
Why-
can play
Why
again
buy
before
it
I
when you
die.
can?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say if I can play Pong again before I die in its original form, I'll be happy.
There's an
Continue, V.
Well, why buy it? Just you can download an emulator for any system, and there's endless sites with the ROMs for the games. You just download for free. Endless.
He's right.
I have over 5,000 games just for Super Nintendo and Game Boy emulators. Downloaded it all for free. But anyways, yeah. If you could tell, and something that's been a theme with me, I don't buy anything. Okay, I if I can, I'm on a what do you call it? A boycott for Steam because they did something to me. I'm not going to get into, but I in general, I just pirate, find a free version of something or whatever. I'll crack a program. I don't care. That's because the industry does not respect us. The industry just wants their bottom line, and they'll push out any crap until they can get it. These companies with the bottom lines that they have to make a certain amount of money, like what Planet Fitness, right? They have to make a certain amount of money. If they don't get that amount of money, then they gotta jack up the prices. And that's garbage. They don't care about us. Oh shoot, I sound like Michael Jackson right now. They don't really care about us.
Yeah, I think I think it's opposite. I think they do care about us because without us, they make no money. They have no power, but they care about us enough to keep us as sheeple and as slaves to the system, because that's how the Matrix works, my friend. So it's a different kind of caring.
Well, and shoveling crap onto us. I mean, yeah. Put out some quality freaking products. Quit worrying about your goddamn deadlines. There's so many crap games. There's so many good actual development companies, legendary companies that just went under because they couldn't meet a deadline, or their parent company, whoever bought them, put deadlines on them, and then they can't produce. The only time I even hear anything out of the game journalism world is when somebody has scammed the populace with a Kickstarter, or that there's some development with a game that's taking longer than the deadline. Oh wow! Oh, this game won't be out by Christmas. Well, as a consumer, I don't care. Put it out on Easter. I'll still get it. But the gaming, the whole point of the gaming, it's this entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. It's like toys for adolescents and adults. Why in the hell is it so complicated? Why does it have to be, journalism behind it? Why? I mean, the most you need is a forum that gives you a rating. Is it good? It's bad. Tell me about the good, the bad, the ugly, and a one paragraph and a number, and that's good enough for me.
I think it's important to mention, the EULA kind of also keeps us from actually owning the game after we buy it. They can just take it back whenever they want.
Well, that's why everything went digital. Digital
That's one reason.
downloads.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I keep an offline hard drive with all my valuable programs and games on them.
You know what's crazy, V? The one gaming company that's done really well for the last 20 plus years has been Capcom. And a lot of companies have gone under. And I said earlier, Microsoft laid off a lot of their in-house game creators, and they have bought a lot of properties. I forgot some of the names now, but a couple of them actually won awards over the last few years as top games. And you're like, why would they shut that company down? Why would they buy them, have them win awards, and then shut them down? It makes no sense. And they did that to I think they shut down like 6 companies, and 2 of them were award-winning gaming companies.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of weird, right? But then you have a company like Capcom who's independent, and they make games, and they've done well. They're in a $1 billion plus company. They've never really had major down times, and they're still doing their thing. And I think that's the way a lot of the platforms should go, like PlayStation, Xbox. They should really get most of their games from outside sources, so they can meet that demand easier. Once they get the game creators in house, I think that's where they have some of the issues, because they don't know how to
That's
hire
why.
the right-
That's why Steam is so successful.
Yeah.
You can create a game and go to Steam, and they'll put it on the marketplace for you. Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. And I want Activision Blizzard to stop buying companies, because they have like a little sweatshop of different other companies underneath them. I don't even think they give them any credit for the work that they do, and they're still churning out crap because, again, these deadlines. And instead of putting out the best products, their strategy is to just buy up all the publications so they can't report anything negative about it. And that's a nightmare situation. I had actually just watched a documentary about what was eBay, and eBay targeted this e-commerce blog, or e-commerce something.com. It's a site that critiques businesses over the internet, and their opinion of eBay wasn't so high. So what did eBay do? Oh, well, eBay they hired the CIA to target the owners of the site. That's what they did. So, having a negative opinion about anything anymore, that's being snuffed out. And this is an example of that. Independent journalists, well, that would write an article about a game. First off, to be a journalist writing about video games, I'm going to take a guess and say that wasn't their first job choice, especially in the field of journalism. So they're probably not that good at their jobs, and they're going to be culling people out of the industry that won't say what it is that these giant developers want them to say, and they're going to go. They're going to go by the wayside. So it's just more totalitarian crap after another day of totalitarian crap, to be followed by another day of totalitarian crap. So that's just what it is, I think. And with that, I'll pass it on.
Rearson, you're up.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of crap.
Well, don't need to be up yet. Anyway, gaming journalism was never something that I cared too much about. I mean, what was that website? Game Trailers? That was great. I mean, that's where I was hooked on the build-up for Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I mean, just the effort that BioWare put into that game was just phenomenal. The cinematic trailers were just, they've all been good. No, they've all been great. I mean, if you put them all together, I think you can get like a 6 to maybe a 10-minute video. I can't remember exactly how much or how long it is, but but it ended up turning into how much cock did they suck, or much like Disney's tactic with leading up with all the positive reviews of Ahsoka, for example. Like just the paid shill, or the paid shillery, or shall we say the paid fuckery. So as an industry, I can't say with any certainty about this, but I'm pretty sure that the audience, the target audience, was eventually able to see all of the fuckery that was going on, and that things just didn't seem right. Now I can say that the only modern game that I have bought, and by modern I mean by like the last big game that I've bought, was MechWarrior 5. Hold on. Oh, never mind. It was MechWarrior 5.
They're coming for you.
Love and I love playing the game. It's great. It's a wonderful solo game. Don't have to do anything outside of make sure you survive, and the mods that you can get on Nexus mods. For me, it's a lot of fun. There was a story to it, and there's no political correctness bullshit that goes in the game. There is a female character. She's your main support character. She's a pain in the ass, but that's just part of what the whole thing is. I've enjoyed playing the excuse me. I've enjoyed playing the Shadowrun games that I get on GOG.com. I've got my Steam account. I haven't had any problems with it yet, knock on wood. And right now I'm going back to the old SSI Dungeons, old first edition Dungeons and Dragons games. Currently I'm playing Pool of Radiance. It's challenging. The graphics are awful, but there's an actual story to it. And let's also not forget, and I'm sure Naroki had talked about this, and I apologize for not listening, but gaming journalism took a massive hit with the likes of Zoe Quinn. So, as an industry, journalism itself has also been dying off rather pathetically. I mean, how many... You've got 5 or 6 major corporations that control the media, the mainstream media in the U.S. Disney and Viacom. I think it's Viacom. And I don't know the companies outside of Disney and don't really care too much after that. Or GE's one of them, which one's NBC. But anyway, there's nothing there. And I was interested in getting my hands on Baldur's Gate 3. I loved 1. And it was because of journalism, gaming journalism at the time, which was legitimate, that told me or gave me an explanation as to why sometimes I couldn't get those extra neutralized poison potions dealing with some spiders early enough into the game, it's because you don't have a high charisma. And that was a big thing that the two guys that founded BioWare had to incorporate, was to make charisma a subtle but important enough decision for your gameplay. Now with Baldur's Gate 3, if I really want to, I could have a shape-shifting druid gay druid if I really wanted to play that. Fuck me up the ass as a bear. No thanks. No fucking thanks. And that was something that was highlighted for, I guess, the streaming release of Baldur's Gate 3. I'm like, no, this stuff just does not do me any good. And what makes me even more scared is it was what enough of the audience wanted to see, was the sequence of events that led up to getting intimate with Yogi. And Yogi wasn't going to take no for an answer. So between the woke journalists and the woke gaming industry and companies like Sweet Baby Inc., to quote Danny Glover, I'm getting too old for this shit. And I really am. I'm just waiting right now to get my hands on electric guitar and on Steam. I'm going to learn how to play through Rocksmith, and that's going to be good enough for me. That's really going to be the extent of what I'm going to need for graphic capabilities. So, with this acquisition of the majority of the remaining, what were independent, toe-sucking, ass-licking, cock-sucking journalistic companies. Yeah, it's just like what we've seen happen with companies like Sports Illustrated and the like. They just ran out of steam, pun intended here. But they died a slow, painful death. And if anything does turn up at some point, maybe, whatever. But this older guy is not going to be getting all up in flames over things that are going wrong or going bad. And I'm certainly not going to have an elevated heartbeat or blood pressure for something I've been waiting to come out. I'm done. I'm just too old. I'm getting too old for this kind of shit. And I've got other things in my life that I need to do and focus on. So for me, this ends up becoming a topic of non-interest. So whatever's going to happen, good luck, boys. You're going to fucking need it, or girls, or things, or whatever you think you might be, or what you're not, or fucking whatever.
Get the pronouns right, son. Pronouns.
Yeah, I got a couple of pronouns. Kiss my ass. And on that note, not you personally, Angel, but on that note, I'm done. So, Hiroki, all back to you.
All right, thanks. All right, so yeah, hopefully we won't go on for like 45 minutes on this next topic. Klaus Schwab is stepping down as leader of the World Economic Forum. Now, yay. I think maybe Klaus, to a certain extent, maybe I think Klaus Schwab kind of knew which way the winds are blowing and decided to get out of the way. My concern with this, though, is that who's going to be taking his place? For all we know, we might be getting out of the frying pan and into the fire.
How old is Klaus, by the way, Naruki?
I don't know, actually. He's got to be up there. Somebody can look it up while we're talking about it. Yeah, Klaus Schwab is stepping down. I want to be enthused about that, but then again, who's going to be taking his place?
He's a whopping 86 years old.
Oh my God, it's like,
oh yeah,
yeah, he's getting up there. But then again, Henry Kissinger went to what Henry Kissinger went to 100. So I mean, who knows, right?
Well, you know they say 80 is the new 70. So
Yeah. Well, good riddance, Klaus Schwab. I don't even want to get into it with you. I don't really want to, because I'm starting to, with never mind if I'm fading out or not. I agreed to do this show. So yeah, Klaus Schwab is stepping down. And I really don't have that much to say on this, but I mean, because he's stepping down, I thought it was important to have this as a topic. I'm sure some of us here have got a lot more to say on it, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Alex.
Sure. Do you think his daughter will take his place? I mean, she often speaks for the WEF.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. The World Economic Forum. We all know it's just a bunch of elites telling us what to do, telling us to eat bugs and live in pods and things like that. Yeah, I'm kind of glad he's gone too. Not much more to say on that, unfortunately.
All right,
Uh-oh.
V. Sorry, not V. Angel.
Oh, okay. Um, I've got much to add other than that he's old. Let the door hit you with the good Lord split you, and let's pray the next person in charge is not as bad. Uh, but you know, we could only dream, right? It's probably going to get worse. Uh, maybe a bit like Ruth Gator Ginsburg, and he just stuck around too long. Uh, I really don't care because the system is going to keep running no matter who the next one up is. Anyway, it's out of our hands. So no sense in beating around a dead horse, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
V, you're up.
Well, I wouldn't want to beat around the bush, but I would definitely beat around the Schwab.
Whoa, buddy. We all
Oh,
like to beat around the bush from one. It wouldn't be prudent, as old George W. would say.
yeah. So I mean, I agree with Angel and the rest of you guys. I mean, evil's only can only be replaced by evil. So we just have to keep an eye on the situation, and when time comes, somebody needs to have the balls to do the right thing here and paint the target. Yeah. So I don't know. I want to hear what Steve has to say about this, because this is more his guy he likes to bag on.
Yeah, Rearson. What do you got to say on this?
Well, according to Real Raw News, Schwab was executed. No, well, he was rounded up somewhere in Switzerland, I believe. I'll have to take a look. I didn't even think about bringing this part of the topic in, but yeah, I'll post this one after I've got to say what I have to say here. I'm honestly of the opinion that Schwab's been out of the picture for a little while, at least a couple of years. But there has to be, if that's the case, there has to be the public figure, so that way there's no discontinuity as to what's going on. Because Lord knows, don't want to make the and to some degree all of us are in this category. Don't want to have the sheeple panic and lose their fucking minds, and society really starts to go downhill pretty quickly. It's not anything that I can put my finger on to say for certain, but again, my opinion. is that this has already been done and dealt with, and it's been over, I would say probably about 2018 to 2019. Oh, and then the topic previously about assassination on Trump and whatnot. I'm of the opinion that there have been numerous attempted assassinations on him that did not work for whatever reason or another. But in terms of this one, the more people that you see that are on that are, shall we say, like the top 0.5%, the Bill Gates and I mean the royal family. I mean, the fuck was it? Charles, Kate, and Camilla have suddenly contracted cancer. Really? Well, isn't that fucking interesting? All about the same fucking time. CEOs that have stepped down. All of these celebrities that tested positive for COVID. I'm of the opinion that these people have either been rounded up, they will be rounded up, and they're aware and they're just playing things out. So, if you're going to believe this story, that's fine. Go right ahead. I feel that I could very well be 2 to 4 years ahead. I'm just waiting for things to unravel or progress at a slow pace, so that way people like my father don't, like I said earlier, don't lose their shit and start to fucking panic. So, yeah, that's really all that I have to say. Actually, no, I'm going to add something to this. It's very much off on a tangent, but there was, I'll send this to you, Naroki, but apparently this also applies too with American politics as well too. But the coat of arms, which Canada having been a colony and of the UK, the royal family, apparently we don't have the coat of arms showing anymore in the House of Commons, which is the American equivalent of Congress. And the Department of Justice seal doesn't appear to be showing anymore with, was it Eric Garland? Merrick Garland? Garland, I believe, is the DOJ secretary. So, if that is indeed the case, could very well be that things like what happened with Schwab stepping down is just subtle signs that there's other shit going on. So we'll see. And I don't have any more to say. So back to you, gents.
Okay, so come on, what is going on here? Okay. Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
I don't know what happened. Everything just froze up there for a second. I don't know what the hell happened. Long line of technical difficulties tonight. So the next topic, and this one is kind of interesting because McDonald's got absolutely McRoasted.
Speaking of the bugs,
Are they up McShit Creek?
Yeah, they got McRoasted. They got caught McRipping. They're McCusters, McOff.
So they're
gonna get munted.
So
Yep.
they're McFucked.
Yeah, they're McFucked. The McPrices on the the McFood at McDonald's has been McRising at a Mick rate that is much higher than McInflation actually should dictate. But then again, it's like this is happening with, never mind the fact that, I mean, oh, a little side story about McDonald's. Just Morgan Spurlock, the creator of Super Size Me, died this week. Just thought I'd throw that in if any of you ever saw that documentary when it came out.
Yes, now he's in McHeaven enjoying his McRest and McPeace.
Exactly.
And, they opened the McGates, and he took his McFat ass in there, and long live and prosper. May he go eat his McBurgers in peace now.
Yep, he McDied. Yep, that's right. He McDied. He also had McAlcoholism apparently, but so yeah. It's not like the prices of fast food, and it's not just McDonald's, but McDonald's is under the spotlight because McDonald's is the one that's been gouging the prices the most. But Wendy's, Burger King, a lot of restaurants are also like the prices have gone up like way more, and it's the low end places, the Burger Kings, the McDonald's, that type of thing.
Have you been to Taco Bell?
No, I haven't been to Taco Bell lately. I hardly ever go to Taco Bell.
I went to Taco Bell a few years ago before, right before COVID. A good combo was like $5-6. And then after COVID, it was like 6-7, and now it's like $11.99.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
just smaller.
Yeah, well, I've noticed. I mean, there's on the way back from where I work, the bus driver has one stop to make, in Fort McMurray, and there's really only one place to go to get anything, and there's a hotel and there's a McDonald's across the parking lot. So literally the only time I even consider getting McDonald's food is when I'm going back in. And I have noticed that the prices have definitely gone up. Here's the thing though, it's not just McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. It's like all of the lower end, like the KFCs and all that sort of thing. The prices have gone up to the point where, well, I mean, it's been pointed out that they're really encouraging people to use the apps that they've produced because it will enable them to not have to hire as many people to work. Also, and of course, this would only happen in California. They raised the prices of the wage of a McDonald's worker in California to the same rate as somebody who works on an oil rig. So, yeah, needless to say, that's the In-N-Out Burger closed. The In-N-Out Burger, a California-based burger chain, has actually started closing places. But I mean, Red Lobster went completely bankrupt. Chili's is hurting. Like, I saw a video listing all the major U.S. chains anyway that have that are closing down, and there are significant restaurant closures across the board. And I haven't heard of a similar situation happening here, although if Tim Hortons were to shut down, I think the Canadian public would riot in the same way that they rioted, that they went pissed off over the trucker convoy, because I mean, Tim Hortons is like the holy temple of Canada up here. Yes, I picked Red Lobster because Red Lobster, above all of the other companies, went completely bankrupt. And the reason why Red Lobster went completely bankrupt is because the CEOs of Red Lobster, when they left, they did things to Red Lobster like buying the land underneath. This one CEO bought land under several Red Lobsters and released the land back to Red Lobster at an exorbitant rate. Basically, Red Lobster got hit by a series of corrupt CEOs who, even after they left the company, basically just gouged Red Lobster for everything it was worth. So, yeah, Red Lobster is technically bankrupt now. But yes, McDonald's was caught gouging its McCustomers with its McFood and its McDeals. And they're now facing McHeat. And they're right at the center of the McControversy because, well, they're McDonald's. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to McAlex.
Yeah, I think McDonald's missed their McProfit margin because people were being pretty picky this past quarter. What is it? I think I have the app on my phone, and it was showing. Yeah, I still go to McDonald's, and a McDouble is like over $5. It's just absolutely crazy, the price of food these days, and that's not just McDonald's. That's everywhere. Between the supply chain problems, the power grid, all kinds of things, I think it's going to be, as I think Steve put it earlier, we're heading for a near death experience in the United States, and that's not funny, but I don't know what else to do, but maybe sit back and eat popcorn and watch the fire. That's about all I have to say.
I say do a lot of blow and get a lot of hookers and spend your food stamp money on goods that actually you could cook yourself, because going out to eat at some of these fast food places it's becoming like gourmet meals at fancy restaurants. Like I said earlier, Taco Bell's like $11.99 for a combo. Used to cost $4.99. That's just highway robbery. Now I go on a date with a chick, right? And I got to choose between having a $80 movie theater experience plus a probably $30 meal experience to maybe watch a shitty movie, definitely have bad food, and then maybe not even get any at the end of the night because she won't put out. So I just spend all this absurd money. I'm not even getting any ass out of it. It's almost like you just rather stay home and just beat it, like Michael Jackson sang in the '80s. Like squirt. It's sometimes. Sometimes, yeah, but let's be honest. Everything is so expensive that sometimes you're like, you know what? Why even bother? And most chicks are like, yeah, take me to a restaurant this, or I want to go to a nightclub, and I'm like, I'm getting too old for this shit. I don't really want to go to nightclubs and fancy restaurants. For me it used to be Taco Bell and Denny's. I can't even afford that shit anymore. Like, have you seen Denny's? I have.
I have seen Denny's. Two people,
Oh,
2 small meals, $60. It was.
bro, what is that?
60. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like
Denny's.
wow.
I mean, you're gonna get diarrhea eating there anyway, but that must have cost you $60.
Yeah, it cost $60. We got 2 standard meals and I think like nachos, and that was it. It was just $60 bill. It was absolutely crazy.
Oh my goodness. I went. I used to date a girl. Who used to work at Red Lobster, and I used to go there a lot. I went there not long ago, and I mean everything is double the price from when I used to date this girl. And then you have, of course, creepy sniffling con artist Joe Biden and saying, "Oh, the economy's great and inflation, psh, that's all in your mind." No, Joe, I think it's in your mind. However clouded that shit might be from all the cocaine and drugs that Hunter feeds that man. But I mean, to when will it end? Where you can't even go into a fast food restaurant anymore, and not have to maybe not have your kids go to college, because can't afford the shit. It's gonna get to that point, and it's not like they're making jobs better. Well, yeah, they want to give us a higher minimum wage, right? That's gonna make unemployment worse, by the way. And then to boot, oh, by the way, not only are we going to make unemployment worse, we're going to make computers and machines do a lot of the stuff that humans used to do. Like they already got rid of most of the tolls, right? There's no humans running tolls anymore. That's a job gone. Now they want us to like bag our own food at grocery stores. That's another set of jobs gone. Cars are going to start driving themselves. Taxi drivers, Uber, Lyft, gone. Eventually, we're going to be sitting at home, like squeezing jack-o'-lanterns, saying, what the hell happened to my life? I can't make a buck. With that, I mean, it's depressing, but don't commit suicide. Just in time, hopefully, some things will start becoming clearer, and we'll start actually helping the population instead of feeding the war machine with all this money. I think eventually we're just gonna have to like I don't know, maybe give some of the money in I don't know, like a yearly or monthly allowance of living, like wage for people if computers are gonna completely take over. I mean, how are people gonna survive if they can't even work? I mean, that's all I have. Steve?
You know what? That's exactly how people should commit suicide now. No, not by shoving their face in a mountain-sized pile of cocaine. Not by being all heroined out. No, you're gonna die by chicken bone from Popeyes.
By the way, it's funny you mentioned Popeyes. I did have fast food not long ago. I was out doing some stuff for my illness, and I got hungry on the way back, so I stopped at KFC, and it did have like a $5 special, and I was like, you know what, $5? That's not too bad. So I will say, KFC, you kept it real.
KFC, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna unload on this topic. KFC is keeping it realer. I'm not sure what their minimum wage is that they pay, but KFC used to be the higher end of the fast food chicken stuff, but now it's the lower end. One thing that I was actually super excited about coming from Europe back to the U.S., especially going back to the area where I used to live, because there was a Popeyes that I would eat at twice a week, easily, 2-3 times a week. I would special order all dark meat, 20 pieces. And that would cost me about $18. Now that was 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
8 years ago. So now I came back. I came back to California. I went to the very Popeyes that I used to go to. It cost me $23 for a 4-piece fries and a drink.
I believe it.
Did they kiss you before they took you from behind?
Yeah, no wrestling. Huh?
Yeah,
did you get a reach around?
Well, the price took all the romance out of it. Really, tell you the truth.
Are you sure it wasn't a bromance?
Did you start walking funny afterwards, Derby, for a little while?
Oh, he was still walking funny.
You paid that much and you didn't get a reach around. Oh my God.
No, see, it wasn't even satisfying. That's the whole point. I wasn't walking all funny. It wasn't even satisfying. I didn't even get my money's worth.
My access has been fully violated. I didn't get my prostate thoroughly massaged as only a man can do.
Went in hard with no lube, too short to reach the G spot.
There you go.
Come on now.
I'm hoping that wasn't in the sauce.
But but that's not even the craziest part, because when I walked in, and I'm sweating. I'm physically sweating just looking at the menu. The family meals were like, it was 60. There were options. It was $60 to $80 for the family meals. I've never seen anything over $40 in a fast food joint in my life till that day. It's like, wow, I felt it for the first time. Like, wow, things are gonna get dystopian.
I thought you didn't feel it.
This is how bad it's gone. I went to a all-you-can-eat buffet not too long ago, V,
Yep.
and I got kicked out and for eating too much. This is an all-you-can-eat buffet, and they're like, "You fat boy, you gotta leave." I'm like, "What? It's all you can eat? What are you talking about? No, you eat too much. You gotta go." I'm like, "But Mr. Young, this is all you can eat." No, you eat too much. You leave now. And I'm like,
Angel, you and I, we got to get together because we will shut one of those places down.
"Oh, it'll be a tsunami of food."
They're not gonna know what happened.
No.
Yeah. So, and so I think, I mean, McDonald's is not the biggest offender. From what I saw, it's like, man, those special herbs and spices. Did India blow up? You know, what happened to the spice trade here? Are we in short supply of those special herbs? Like what the hell happened? So, yeah, I was furious. I ate my chicken indignantly, but I was furious. $23. Not even the big juicy pieces. These things were so small and emaciated. This little 4 pieces of chicken.
So you got the chicken with Down syndrome, is what you say?
This chicken had AIDS or something. A failed clone batch. I got the bad batch.
You will eat the GMOs.
You will eat the chicken with the box. Order 69.
But there's a silver lining to the cloud, though. I do believe, because once I experienced that when I was in Cali, I just went to regular restaurants. Going to regular restaurants is cheaper than going and eating fast food junk. So, yeah, I was going to actual restaurants in California rather than going to go. I mean, I remember being able to walk into a Taco Bell with $20 and being able to feed all my friends after a night out. You know, when you sober up, whatever, $20 got everybody in the car full. Yeah, now at $20 barely gets me full.
V, it's getting so expensive that soon when you go on a date, the fanciest restaurant you're going to be able to afford is going to be Taco Bell. Think about that. So what did you do for your first date with your gentleman? He took me to a movie theater, and then we had a restaurant. It was so fancy. It was Taco Bell.
Dude, all the restaurants are going to turn into Taco Bell.
Yeah. It's going to be like Demolition Man with us.
Do you see any
Exactly.
cows?
What is the seashells for? You'll never know.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and again, it's always best just to cook at home for yourself, of course. But I think that we need to start doing that. Really, just showing that independence. You know, there's some people that will not cook for themselves to save their lives, literally. Um, you know, there's just some people. Some people don't even have it set up, and you know, it's getting so bad. Um, People with food stamps. You know, McDonald's is now accepting food stamps. Several restaurants are now accepting food stamps.
The hell you say? I'm gonna go back to
I don't
McDonald's.
believe it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm totally with you. I make my own food here at the crib, and I buy my supplies, and look, I have two major appliances that I use to cook: a small frying pan and a big pot, so I can make my rice and my soups and my spaghettis and all that good stuff. And I do that, and I don't have a rice pressure cooker and none of that junk. I make my rice the old-fashioned way, like people should make it in a big pot, like the old school way, and it comes out delicious.
I do it that way too.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so and just my other experience, I went to Long John Silver's, right?
oh God, they're so
And
expensive now.
I had to go out of the city. I had to go all the way to Yuba City and California, and just to go to Long John Silver's. Yeah, when I got there, the place was pristine. The workers looked bored. There's nothing to clean. There's nothing to cook. Just people standing around. And I go in and I was like, wow, I'm looking at the prices. Just for a number one, it's only 2 pieces of fish, hush puppy or fries, and a drink. $15. I paid the price just because of nostalgia. I hadn't had the Long John Silver's in like over a decade, probably 2 decades. It was a nostalgia thing, so I went and bought it anyways. But I do believe I was their first customer of the day, and it was like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and what these corporations don't understand is that the more they raise the prices of the foods, the more endangered that they're going out of business. And the reason for that is the very people that they employ, that they don't want to pay a lot of money, but the very people that they employ who's not getting paid a lot also eat at these establishments. So you're biting your nose to spite your face at this point. Yeah. Oh yeah, I work at McDonald's, but I can't afford to buy any. Oh, wow. Go figure, right? Anyways, I could go on and on. Well, actually, one more thing. What you said about Biden. Um, oh yeah, everything's great. No, there's no inflation. And see, that's the thing right there. You can lie to me better than that. Don't do a flat out denial. Just lie to me a little bit. You know, yeah, things are looking a little bit bad right now, but things are gonna get better. This is in place. Yeah, you know, it's don't just come out and just say, hey, everything's perfectly fine, because that's a load of BS.
What I love is the numbers when he pulls out like these fake numbers, like he's like, oh yeah, unemployment is doing great. We created 15 million jobs. No, Joe, you actually didn't. What happened was we lost about 30 million jobs because of the fake COVID virus. And out of those 30 million jobs, 15 million have come back for people who had to quit their jobs because you kept them locked down and businesses went out of business and people lost their jobs. And now those people that have been out of work for years have finally started to get back to work. So out of 30 million that you caused, now 15 million might come back. And you're proud of that? No,
The
Right.
only
Joe.
thing they
I'm
thought.
blind to
So,
this, you know.
But yeah, I agree. I'm done though.
okay,
This is-
Rearson.
Yeah. Well, if you think that things are expensive now, it's only going to be getting worse. Naroki and I had talked about this last week. Is that when BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and whoever else that's joined, when they present a new reserve currency, whatever that's going to be, whatever that's going to look like, all of the you're going to really start to see the U.S. dollars that have been circulating worldwide in those countries are going to be coming back home to roost. And it's going to get messy. This, I think, and that's slated for October. So what Alex has just repeated by me saying that there'd be a near-death experience. If you think things are bad now, I assure you, gentlemen, believe me, I wish it wouldn't, because Canada's tied at the hip. So the U.S. goes down, we're pretty much the first country that's going to be going down with you. When shit hits the fan, it's only going to be worse. Now, Naroki's perspective as well about the cost of fast food up here in Canada is that we have the carbon tax that was slapped on even more on April 1st, and then the federal government is planning to impose 61 cents per liter of gasoline, even more of a tax. So we're going to see, if it goes through, we're going to see prices of everything go up because everything has to be transported by diesel and or gasoline, or shall we say hydrocarbons. Now, in terms of McDonald's getting hit hard, I have only eaten McDonald's recently, or the McShit recently enough, but that's only because I was asked, do you want anything, because my son wanted to get some McCrap. I don't touch the stuff. I hate it. I prefer to stay away from it. I'd rather eat Subway, and I don't really trust Subway to begin with anyway. It cost me $17 when I last went to Ado, which is a Japanese fast food chain up here in Canada. And rice, chicken, and then broccoli and carrots and whatever, mushrooms, whatever else they put in there. Oh, and I think bean sprouts are there as well too. Anyway, I find it a nice, of the fast food that's available, I find Ado to be probably one of the best that's out there. So, yeah. And let's not forget that the whole, well, there's a couple of other things as well too. The whole economic system, the restaurant chains, were doing all right up until 2020. And I shudder at the thought of how many independent restaurants had to close or had to raise their prices at the time so they could stay afloat because of lower business. And how many extra hours that the owners families had to work to keep the business going. And in California, the minimum wage is now $20 fucking bucks, except if they make spread. So Subway in that instance will be perfectly fine. And so there's another factor that's going into that as well too. So this whole thing's a mess. Oh, and Naroki, while
Well,
Bill
do you know?
Sorry.
Do you know how stupid I looked coming back?
Well, I don't want to say anything, man. You're a nice guy, but you know that's true.
Well, I come back. I'm in line at CC's Pizza. I'm sorry, Little Caesars Pizza.
I love Little Caesars Pizza.
Yeah, thinking I'm gonna get a $5 hot and ready. No, it was $8.99, and with tax, it was nearly $10.
Where the hell are you buying that pizza? It's $5.50 over here, man.
Well, I mean, I went to Pizza Hut recently. One of my personal favorites is the Pizza Hut mini meat lovers. And I used to be able to get 2 for 10. Now it's like 2 for like 16.
But hold on, let's go back to this Little Caesars thing because that got me all puzzled. Because they have the hot and ready for $5.50, which I'll pay $6. I love Little Caesars, but they also have other pizzas. I mean, are you sure you asked the right one?
Dude, before I left
pizza, don't ruin it for me.
Well, before I left California to go to Europe, I was surviving off of. Dude, I was surviving off of hot and ready's. Yeah, of course I knew what I was getting. Oh, and so, but and that's another thing that I want to talk about real quick. I totally forgot. So Naroki just brought up Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, where I lived in California, had just closed down, like right before I left. I'm in Wisconsin right now, by the way. But before I left California, Pizza Hut closed down. Before they closed down, yeah, they had the $7 pizza deals. However, if you ordered the pizza for delivery, there's a $30 delivery fee tacked on. So it didn't matter that your pizzas were $7. You're still basically paying full price. And so we actually called, like my friend John and I, John would love the subject. John had called Pizza Hut and start asking them questions, like, well, why is there a $30 delivery fee tag on this? What's going on? Oh, well, we have to pay our Uber drivers. Yeah, they no longer had in-house delivery people. Every order was an Uber.
Yeah, that's in Florida, Miami too, by the way.
But we stopped. We asked the driver, "Hey, how much are you getting per delivery from Pizza Hut?" They're like $1. So where the hell is $29 fee going to? We end up calling them back again. They couldn't give us any answers.
Wow.
Lady at the corporate office says, "I don't know."
Oh, well, I mean, I personally never have anything delivered. I always go out and get it.
Wow. Talk about getting your prostate massaged.
It's like the tolls on the road. You figured there's no more people working the tolls, so it'll be cheaper. No. It's more expensive, and there's no people. They make all this money on tolls, but then they want to pass bills for billions of dollars for tolls and bridges. I'm like, hold on, motherfucker. Where's that money going to? They're getting ripped off on now because, what used to cost me $1.25 is like $50 now. And who's getting this money? Why do you need to tax me another $50 billion when you're already making hundreds of billions of dollars a day, practically, in the entire country? The people use the toll system. So what's going on? You know what I'm saying? It's like the
Oh
same
yeah, foreign nationals have already paid for these roads. When they say, "Oh, the tolls to pay for the roads," they're lying. Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Another
so
rabbit hole.
okay, Rearson, you're up.
Yeah. So basically, the whole economic model of what restaurants were, the chains and whatnot, it's been upended, and now at the IKEA locally here, they don't have the cashiers anymore. They have the kiosks, which is the same thing that McDonald's has also rolled out. You're gonna there's been more self-serve portals at like the Shoppers Drug Mart, which is a uh, it's a drugstore and mini um, grocery store kind of rolled into one now. That's what it has evolved to. So don't be surprised with the rising cost of food. If you're if you're gonna come up to Canada, expect it to be pretty damn fucking expensive. Where it's going to be ridiculous. That's all that I can say. And V's absolutely right. At the end of the day, buy your food at the grocery store. Start to cook for yourself if you can. If you're on a date, good luck. And she's bitching. It's like, well, then you're paying for half your stuff. See you, goodbye. And that's it. End of story. So
Squirt, squirt.
drizzle, drizzle. God. So yeah, more near-death experiences are coming to you, folks. That's all that I'm going to say. Rocky, all yours.
Okay, yeah. Next topic, and this one I think is rather appropriate because, well, Media Matters is just a sleazy organization. Now, we actually covered this when they tried to pull this off a few months back. What Media Matters did is that they played the algorithm up on Twitter, and what they did is that they kept doing it until they got the right combination of white supremacist people's ads appearing next to white supremacists, and then they would screen save that, and they would call these places up and say, would you endorse this individual because your ad appeared next to him? The only thing is that Elon actually had a tracking system set up, and he saw, and he actually he actually has the evidence to prove it, that Media Matters was doing this. And Media Matters has lied about a lot of things. But what ended up happening is that Elon Musk had a legitimate case, and he went after Media Matters for the financial losses, and Media Matters lost that lawsuit. So now these lying effing bastards have got to start laying people off, and it's like you're seeing this everywhere with mainstream conformist media, establishment media, that they're slowly going bankrupt, and the professional lie factories that got set up pre-COVID to run propaganda for the establishment, they're all one at a time. They're making these mistakes, and they're getting caught doing it, and they're getting sued into oblivion, and they're losing the strength, which is one of the reasons why it's looking it's like they won't be able to pull the same tricks with the election in 2024 that they did in 2020, because it's nowhere near going to be close enough to do that anyway. But this is one of the reasons, because like the media machine, which was in place to run block for Biden, and did run block over the Hunter Biden laptop in 2020, that media machine, both the mainstream press and online no longer has the ability to control the tone of the election like they did in 2020. Twitter is no longer playing ball. In fact, I was almost going to, in fact, I may add it in as a topic for next week, is that it was revealed that the CIA tried to buy up a solid chunk of the internet so that they could control it for Biden, which is basically what ended up, a lot of the stuff got revealed during the Twitter files. Very happy that Media Matters is going down. I mean, had I actually been at the same level where some of these people are right now, and particularly Elon Musk, these people would have had absolutely no qualms lying about me or any of us here if we'd reached that level. So finding out that they're getting their asses handed to them by Elon Musk and they're forced to lay off staff is a good thing, just like it was for Kotaku. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alex.
Sure. Thank you, Naroki. Yeah, I actually don't know a whole ton about Media Matters. I know Elon Musk is suing the crap out of them, suing the Mick crap out of them, and they laid off like a dozen staffers. But so they're a relatively small watchdog group. But because I don't know that much, I will turn it over to Angel.
It's because I'm Cuban, right? That's why you got to turn it over to me.
I thought you were a Cuban.
No. I'm only a Cuban on certain holidays when I'm trying to get the day off from work. But no, I don't know much about Media Max either, so I'm gonna leave this one to V.
So,
See,
what about Trans Women's Day? What are you on that day?
Oh well, see now that we can talk about for a minute here, because there's no way in hell that they should have a trans woman day. Look, it's really not fair that we have like Cinco de Mayo's one day, right? Like you have like Latin Awareness Week, right? Yeah, Black History Month. Hey, y'all been through some shit. I agree, get your month, but we have like a day for my Latino folks. That's not fair. But you're gonna give us what, Trans Month? That Trans Awareness Month? Why? And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be somewhere around Christmas, because the next thing is gonna be like, by the way, Jesus was gay. You didn't know that? He liked windows. He had long hair and he wore a robe, and he hung around with a bunch of dudes. Huh? And his best friend was a girl. He was. Maybe Jesus went to one of the daily freak offs. You never know.
Well, see, that is supposed to be one of the Catholic secrets. That's why the priests go after the little boys.
It all kind of makes sense now, V.
Yeah. Well, anyways, as far as this media thing, I want to skip on it as well. I don't know too much about it.
Jeez. Oh, okay. Rearson, take this topic out.
All right. Well, at least we can gain back some time here. Media. Excuse me. Media Matters. I know that my uncle, who died of like the turbo cancer, was very happy with Media Matters. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Media Matters, that's David Brock, isn't it?
I believe so. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Nobody knows too much about this. Media Matters. That looks.
Well, in this case, media doesn't matter. This one, anyway. So
anyway, on.
Yeah. So, I mean, these people have been one of the bigger mouthpieces for the Democrat Party, and everything that goes along with it. And I attribute this one. This one actually could have segued with IGN buying up the other gaming journalist websites. and I hardly call this Media Matters. To me is about as much of journalism as Gamergate was about games. I mean, really, let's be honest here. So the fact that they've turned into another digital form of Sports Illustrated. Well, no, sorry, they're turning into one. This really starts to feel like it's going to come down to probably the same level of unraveling in terms of the company and whatnot, website, whatever, as we saw with Vibe. Not Vibe.
Vice.
Vice, thank you. With Vice. Now, is someone going to come in like a George Soros, shall we say, come in and help them out, buy them out? Possibly. But if that ends up being the case, I don't see this turning into anything. The most that they'll become is probably going to be a zombie company or a zombie website. I have no idea where they are right now in terms of internet activity, clicks. Are they in the top 100? Are they into the 1,000? Or are they somewhere in the 10,000 range? Don't know, and I don't care. The chicanery, the fuckery that Media Matters has been involved in, let's be honest, their political connections are probably going to be coming under a lot of scrutiny here very soon. And if Musk is in the process of suing them, then it'll be interesting with the process of discovery as to what is called duggery. How they operate. Anything that's documented to expose how awful, in all likelihood, and I'm just supposing on this, as to how bad things could be or would have been. So, for now, I'm not affected by this because I don't think I probably read maybe 20 articles from Media Matters back in the day, but I don't remember what that was. Might have been 20, could have been before 2014, maybe when I was still talking with my uncle before he passed away. I don't remember. I really honestly don't remember. So, my books at least anyway, it's not that this is a nothing burger, but oh well. Another mouthpiece is going to have the spotlight exposed on it, and as Naroki has said before, sunlight is the best disinfectant. So I don't see this being honestly any different than that. So, my friend, that's all I got.
Yep, that's all you got. All right, so let's move on to the last.
And this one will probably end up being the same thing.
Well, this next one is, it's not the Canada. I didn't pick it up because it's specifically the Canada content.
Okay.
But it is effectively the Canada content. If you don't know who CSIS is, they are the Canadian equivalent of the FBI and and to a certain extent the CIA. Now, to give you a little bit of a background, because I told some of you guys about this right at the start of the show, what ended up happening is that Trudeau, the elder, Pierre, the one that actually had a working brain, not the stammering idiot we've got in sitting as the prime minister now. What ended up happening is that the RCMP, specifically in Quebec, got themselves into some potential legal hot water because they are a police force and not an intelligence agency, and the police and the RCMP in Quebec ended up during the FLQ and during Quebec separatism ended up being used because there was no official Canadian intelligence agency as an intelligence unit. And it created some legal, I don't know the exact legal situation, but it created some legal difficulties for the RCMP. And what ended up happening is that Pierre, not Justin, Pierre, the older Trudeau with an actual working brain, decided that if he was going to do intelligence work, that he was going to have to separate the intelligence arm from the RCMP and set it up as a separate agency, which is exactly what he did. Now, it don't know, what CSIS does. I mean, other than making sure that our national supply of maple syrup isn't stolen by a foreign power, but apparently they actually do some intelligence work. But I mean, of course, under Trudeau the younger, Justin, the fucking idiot, who I will hopefully see gone in 2025, hopefully, actually, probably, has been using the apparatus of government to justify a lot of positions. Now, what's been going on in Canada is the same thing that's been going on in the States, except for whatever reason, much like what happened with the trucker convoy and the COVID situation, Canada actually seems to be taking a bit of a lead when it comes time to indoctrination of kids via the LGBT, or basically the rainbow mafia would probably be the right word to use. The right word to use. Maybe not so much because, I mean, actual gays and lesbians really don't like the fact that transgenders and pedophiles and so forth have been using the gay flag as cover, but we won't get into that. What's been going on here is that, as opposed, even more so than the United States, the Canadian organization against the Rainbow Mafia is a lot more organized and a lot more coordinated than it is in the US. And so much so that they were, much like the trucker convoys, they were able to go out and protest. And even though the opposition to these parents groups organizing to protest the indoctrination of kids in schools, even though the opposition had the support of the government, several major public sector unions, and the media, they were still only able to get about a third of the people of the actual parents groups protesting. The thing that actually ended that was the fact that there was rumors going on. They had one big protest, which we actually covered here when they did it, and they were going to do a second one, but somebody pointed out to them, because there was a huge Muslim contingent in the Canadian protest, and somebody was going to point out that all that would have had to have happened is that somebody would have had to go in there with a pro-Hamas sign or a pro-Israel sign, and the shit would have hit the fan. So they decided to not have any in-person protests anymore. Now, much like how the FBI sent agents out to spy on anti-Rainbow Mafia organizations in the US, same thing happened up here, except, of course, CSIS came out with a report that pretty much calls parents that are opposed to gender ideology a terrorist threat. Now, terrorist threat in Canada means that we're going to take over your capital city and smear it with maple syrup or something, or have kid ball cages and walk around and sing and dance and wave the Canadian flag, and really, really dangerous stuff, like all of the insurrection that happened in Ottawa last year, or as that was 2 years ago now. Much like they did with the FBI. Now, this is definitely comes from Trudeau, and what they're attempting to do here is they're trying to give Trudeau a legal justification to go after the parents, just like what Biden is doing, sending the FBI to investigate parents opposed to gender ideology in the U.S. And I'm not overly surprised. And yet another reason why Trudeau has to go. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alex.
I unfortunately don't know much about the Canadian FBI, but I do know about gender ideology, and I think it's kind of barbaric and a little bit sad that a kid who I didn't know anything when I was 18 years old. When I was 20 years old, I didn't know my head from my tail, and a child in no way, shape, or form is going to willingly make a life-altering decision to cut their genitals off. I just don't think that a child has that reasoning capability. Now, I am all for a cyberpunk future where barbaric surgeries are replaced with routine augmentation or something like that, but I just seriously do not support the kind of barbarism we have today. And I apologize for not knowing much about CSIS, but I'm not from Canada.
Yeah, they're the functioning equivalent of the FBI in Canada. Angel.
I think we should demolish or destroy the FBI, the CIA, the Canadian equivalent, the DOJ, all these evil organizations within our country that really are, I think, at the root cause of a lot of our problems. And we can go back here to when Kennedy got assassinated. Do you really think it was just Lee Harvey Oswald that did it? Really? Do you?
No, it was aliens. Aliens.
If you do, I got some magic beans I can give you.
Those are the same ones currently abducting Rurse and giving him the reach arounds.
Yes. Look, my beans will take you to the land of the giants and the home of the brave, and you can walk around and maybe get eaten. I don't know. But, Rierson enjoys his reach around. We all do. But, look, in all fairness, guys, I don't have much to, really add to this. It's just part of, the plan. Really, that's all it is. So, who's next on the chopping block here?
That would be me. V, yep.
Yeah. Hit him, V. Hit him where it hurts. Right in the gonads.
Well, thank goodness we have more Royal Mounties getting into intelligence work. No less. That's that'd be kind of funny. Hey, Holzer, you're killing your population, eh?
You ever notice why the Canadian flag is red and white but never doesn't have any blue on it?
Yeah, I did notice that.
And America has red, white, and blue. The Canadian flag doesn't have blue is because that's a feeling, and they never feel blue about anything. They never get. They never get the blues in Canada.
Because they have hockey and maple syrup.
Yeah, and Canadian bacon. Damn right.
Oh. A Canadian bacon. Jeez, forgot about that one. Yeah, no, and it's funny too because the maple syrup. I was given a lot of information about the maple syrup here a few days ago, and it's like, wow. Someone had told me that when the world ends, before the world ends, they're going to stock up on maple syrup. Like, holy crap! Is that really a thing up here up north? Gosh, they love their maple syrup. I was Joshua Rearson the other day. I was like, yeah, I'm going to the land of cheese. And he mentioned some other place. I'm like, oh my God. At the facepalm. I'm like, no, Wisconsin.
That's a legit cheesy place. We have a place called the Cheesecake Factory down here, which is fantastic. Love cheese.
Oh, yeah. I used to eat there when I lived in Austin. But, yeah, so I don't know. As far as the, I just have to make fun. Just how nice will these guys be? These new intelligence agents. Oh, it looks like you dropped some cocaine there. Let me help you with that, CIA. Oh, you got quite a few bags here. Oh boy, yeah. No, so that's if your country needs more intelligence operatives, that seriously means that you're getting deeper into some stuff that you shouldn't be into. To tell you the truth, all joking aside, it's only going to mean more child trafficking, more gun running, more drugs on the streets. That's what that means. And yeah, so the terrorist threat thing, which I also find to be hilarious. When I was in Europe and during the whole COVID thing, a way for these people to coax you into getting the vaccine. They had two ways. They had this air about, oh, only the privileged can get vaccinated. Oh, we're so high class. Oh, yes, we have the vaccine. Oh. And then once that became like a no thing, and a lot of people have already gotten the vaccines, then it turned into, oh, if you don't have your vaccine, you're a bioterrorist. How many times am I going to be labeled a terrorist in my lifetime? Because I have a different ideology than someone else. How many times am I going to be called? It's already difficult enough being born black. It's like being born with a felony. Okay, in the society. On top of it, I got to be called a terrorist because a bioterrorist because I don't want to fall to the psyop and be destroyed by the vaccines. Oh, now I gotta be called a terrorist because I don't agree with gender transitioning before the age of 18. What next? I'm gonna be called a terrorist because I don't want to pay my money for some crack from McDonald's.
That makes sense.
How many more times am I going to be called a damn terrorist? How many?
You know what's bad though, and not to cut you off, I'll make it brief. They have blacks in the future in Star Trek. They have blacks in the past in Star Wars a long time ago. You notice they don't have Cubans in either or, right? It's like, what the fuck happened to us? Like,
well, it's an umbrella. It's an umbrella effect. We represent all of you. That's why there's no Puerto Ricans. That's why there's no Filipinos.
Oh no, they got some Puerto Ricans on that Discovery Star Trek show. Like,
There's no black trans. The next Enterprise is going to be captained by a black transgender midget.
Well,
You know
didn't they
what?
have that? Isn't that on Doctor Who now?
You know
No,
what?
he's not a midget.
Oh, of course.
If the Star Trek, I think that's the only place where you should have like some weird transsexual thing. That Star Trek, that's where that belongs.
The closest we got the Latinos we had on Star Trek Voyager, we had Chicote, which that was close enough to that maybe sounding kind of Latino-ish, because in Spanish Chicote means smelly feet. So the whole time you're like, yeah, that Chicote guy is really a cool character. The joke's on you, son, because in Spanish that means smelly feet.
Ah,
Yeah, I know, but Commander Smelly Feet probably wouldn't.
she has smelly feet.
That was where they got lost in the Delta Quadrant because of the smelly feet.
They had to go that far to get away from the smell.
Yeah.
Continue, V, because we have to keep this. We got to keep this moving. We're pushing. We're damn close to 3 hours here.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
All right, V. No, not V. Steve, take us out.
She had smelly feet.
How do you follow smelly feet, right? Well, here you go. The closest thing we got to in Star Wars was Chewie, because Mexicans called by Chewie. But when he spoke, he sounded like he was fucking retarded. He was like, can we get somebody who actually sounds normal? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, Janeway's second in command was Commander Smelly Feet. Rearson, take us out.
Okay. Well, does this target Premier Danielle Smith because she's imposed some restrictions on all of this? I mean, what are the possible political implications of this? That this could affect a provincial leader. And the report also came out to say from CSIS that there could be lone wolf actors that would act out improperly. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if there were going to be J6-ish federal operatives that are going to shake shit up, for lack of a better way to say it. And if not that, well, the very least as well too is that this should be eye-opening for the public, not just Canada, but around the world, of federal agency that's doing stuff that, let's be honest, should be seen as being questionable. And then what's going to happen next? Are they going to be arrested? Are people's bank accounts going to be seized? Will property be taken? I mean, Justine Trudeau Castro, whatever you want to call him, whatever, has been very, very supportive. But I'm also of the opinion that the guy is bisexual at best. I mean, he obviously fucked his wife at least 3 times. So, whatever. I hate to say it like this, but as long as well, I'm very motivated against the LGBTQ plus movement because it is pedophilia that is has infiltrated through the ranks of the gays, shall we say. Lesbian, gay, and bi. That's as far as my tolerance for non-heterosexual activity goes. Every additional letter that's been added to the, and you're absolutely right, the alphabet mafia, because that's really what this is. My opinion, this is the alphabet mafia working through the Khazarian mafia, but we'll leave that alone. But with it being I forget what I was going to fucking say on this one. I'm not worried about myself being targeted for any of this because I have absolutely no desire, no drive to go protest against this. And the overall national polling numbers, again, when Alberta Premier Daniel Smith had basically said that had put the restrictions on transitioning and all of this stupid shit to go along with it. 80% of the population agreeing with her. Those that are supporting this are clearly the minority. And yeah, if any sort of activity comes out from all of this, any bombings or death threats, people getting hit or shot at or getting beaten, I will not be surprised by the high likelihood, like I said, that this is coordinated at the federal level to justify whatever it is that Trudeau wants to push. And for the Canadian public, that's a good thing because we need to see, people need to see how corrupt the corporation called Canada really is. So I have nothing more to say.
All right. Thank you very much, folks. That is it for tonight. Just remember, Star Trek Voyager, Captain Janeway, and Commander Smelly Feet. Guess how they defeated the Borg? Chakotay just took his shoes off, and the Borg just like almost gagged on the smell and ran away. But that is it.
That was that green fog inside the Borg ship. If you notice.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep. Do we need to make sure that all Star Trek fans everywhere are completely clarified on that? That is it for tonight, folks. It is 1:00 in the morning here, and I need to get some sleep because I gotta be I don't have to be up until 8, but I'm an old man, so I need my sleep. So that is it for tonight. Steve, just stick around for a minute or two, and I'll tell you what I needed to tell you, and then we're done. But that is it for the show tonight. You can stop recording now. Oh, wait. Don't stop recording yet. For those of you who don't know, Patreon as Naroki 5, YouTube, Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, MGTOW TV, Brighteon, Facebook, Minds, Gab, MeWe, and